Hey, what's up guys? I wanted to go over glossing a surfboard and doing the final sanding and polishing. This is my second surfboard, so by no means am I an expert, but hopefully you guys can take something from this video. I was fortunate enough to copy a Scott Anderson slide and glide, and you'll see this is a logo I made paying a little respect to that board and that shaper. It's a 7.0 and 3 inches at its thickest point. And what's unique about this board is that it's essentially finless. There are these little finlets on the bottom, and as you shift your weight forward off of them, you'll be able to slide the board around on the face of the wave. There are also these two channels that were pretty hard to shape, a challenge to glass, and I know this board is going to be a challenge to surf, but it's too late to turn back now. So the first step is putting fresh tape on your racks, and in case you can't tell, this is sticky side up, which just helps the board not slide around. One of the most important things, however, is removing as much dust as possible from your work area. I'm just so cramped here, I'm doing the best I can, but this guy would be mad at me.
In order to have a really nice gloss, your room, racks, the board, your hands, everything has to be extremely clean.
Next thing you do is tape along the rail. Check the tape by running your finger along it. You want it nice and tight so no resin can drip through. Then what you want to do is pull the tape out. So you pull and crease. The idea is you want to make sure that the resin drips straight off the tape onto the floor. So now I'm going to go and tape off these plugs here. And in case you're wondering why I have two plugs, it's because this is an EPS board. EPS blanks contain very small air pockets between the foam beads, which expand and contract with changing temperatures. An expanding blank that cannot vent creates so much pressure that your board could start to delaminate. So the top one is a vent plug, which is meant to be a leash plug and a vent plug. I found on my first board that it was just terrible as a leash plug. It ripped out a whole bunch of times. And since I had an extra one lying around, I decided to use it just for venting and added a standard leash plug along with it. Because these are cheap brushes, you want to get off as many loose hairs as possible. If you just push it down onto some tape, you'll see the hairs coming off, and it's way better to have them come off here than on your board. Greenlight Surf Supply recommends 1 ounce of mixed resin per foot of the surfboard. This doesn't need to be a heavy coat, and in fact, you don't want to add too much unnecessary weight. Next, add Additive F surfacing agent, give it a quick shake, and add about 2 capfuls. What it does is help the resin level out on your surfboard. You want to push down on the brush with medium pressure and plow the resin. What you want is a thin, even coat. I'm going to be a little bit careful here around the plugs and try not to send too much resin there. Catch whatever drips and come back the other way. You want firm, even pressure. Overlap your strokes and angle the brush to push the resin in the direction you want it to go. You immediately see the shine coming back to the board, which is great. That's exactly what you want. So I just finished gloss coating the top. It looks pretty good. It's important at this phase not to overwork the resin. So what I'll do is I'll come back in about 2 hours, check the resin on the tape here, and make sure it's just a little bit hard and not fully cured. And that's the best time to peel off the tape. You get that nice line. And then after we do that, we'll flip the board, do the bottom. All right, guys, it's the next day. Things are looking pretty good. The resin is hardened on the top. It's got that nice sound there. So we're ready to flip the board and do the bottom. Let's do it. While you're doing this, keep an eye out for any hairs that come off the brush so you can go back and get those. And then maybe there's some spots where the resin's not taking, and you can try to fix that too. Be sure your rails are fully covered. So the gloss coat on both sides are now cured, and this board is ready to be sanded. I can already see some imperfections, but what we're gonna do is we'll just sand with 320, hit the high spots, then go to 400, flip the board over, do the same. All right, so now I'm moving outside to do some wet sanding, starting at 600 grit. And then we'll just move up 600, 800, 1000, and on up. She is. Man, it feels crazy to actually say you're done when you put so much work into it. It almost feels like you should never stop.